Crown Heights woke up to a kind of quiet that felt wrong. On Eastern Parkway, trees usually whispered over the morning traffic, and kids ran through Brower Park before school. But that week, flyers appeared overnight, heavy, glossy, professionally printed. Private development proposal, reimagining Brower Park. Nobody in the neighborhood knew what reimagining meant, but everyone understood one thing. It had the billionaire's signature at the bottom. Lionel Crane, the man who bought half of Brooklyn's skyline without ever walking its streets. Before we start this story, tell me, where in the world are you watching from? We love seeing how far these stories travel. And if you enjoy our stories, please consider subscribing to our channel and don't forget to hit the hype button. Aaliyah Romero, a 42-year-old Crown Heights community gardener, stood in front of the kiosk reading it 5 times. She'd lived here her whole life. Her family's Caribbean roots ran deep into the soil behind the Brooklyn Children's Museum. The park wasn't just grass and benches. It was her father's domino games, her mother's Saturday picnics, her son's first bike ride, and the place where the neighborhood gathered when COVID stole too many elders. That morning, she felt something tighten inside her chest, a fear she hadn't felt in years. She whispered, "They can't take this." But she'd read the articles. Billionaires didn't ask permission. They bought silence, then built fences. She didn't know it yet, but this fight was going to pull in a citywide force she'd never imagined. Lionel Crane's press team moved fast. By noon, every local news station parroted his language. A visionary plan to modernize public greenery. Private funding to enhance community spaces. Brooklyn's future elevated. But buried in the fine print was the truth. The park would become a private cultural plaza. Accessible only during regulated hours and subject to admission fees. Aaliyah watched an interview on her cracked phone while standing at the bodega on Nostrand. The billionaire smiled like he'd already won. "Public spaces fail because everyday people don't maintain them," he said. "My team will bring excellence." That line hit her hard. Everyday people built Brooklyn. Everyday people survived impossible rent hikes, fought through shutdowns, fed neighbors during power outages. And now this outsider wanted to erase all of that and call it an improvement. Behind her, Mr. Lee, the Korean owner of the bodega, muttered, "He talk like we not human." Aaliyah nodded. "He wants the land, not the people." Another customer added, "This is what they did in Manhattan. Bryant Park, Battery Park, privatize then police it." Nobody laughed. Nobody shrugged. The air in the bodega turned heavy. Not angry yet, not organized yet, but aware, the kind of awareness that grows roots. They packed the Crown Heights library that evening. Haitian families from Union Street, Jewish elders from Eastern Parkway, Dominican teens, Ghanaian aunties, single moms from Albany houses, and longtime Black New Yorkers who had survived every wave of gentrification. Aaliyah stood in the back at first. Listening, a soft-spoken rabbi explained, "If this billionaire fences the park, he controls who enters. That means security guards deciding who looks like they belong. We've seen this before." A Dominican father added, "They say it's public, but try playing reggaeton on a speaker, they'll remove you." A Haitian grandmother raised her hand, voice trembling. "My husband planted a tree there in '98. They took the hospital where he died. They took my laundromat. They took my rent. Now they want my memories." The room went silent. Aaliyah felt tears forming, not from sadness alone, but recognition. Every person here carried a wound shaped by somebody richer deciding their lives were negotiable. By the end, they formed a temporary committee, exchanged numbers, drafted flyers. But walking home under the streetlights, Aaliyah sensed it wasn't enough. The billionaire had lawyers, PR firms, city influence. "We need force," Someone whispered behind her. Not violence. Force. Something bigger than one neighborhood meeting. 2 days later, early morning construction markers appeared around Brower Park. Orange. Stakes hammered into the soil like war flags. Overnight. Unauthorized. Illegal. But billionaire-funded teams counted on one truth by the time the city responded. The work would already be done. Parents stared in disbelief. Dog walkers cursed. Kids kicked the stakes over until workers put them back. Alia's voice cracked as she filmed everything on her phone. She uploaded the first video at 9:13 a.m. By 10:02 a.m., she got her first message. You need to take that video down. Crane's lawyers are contacting creators, posting defamatory content. She didn't know the number. She froze on the sidewalk. Minutes later, another message arrived from someone local. He did this in Midtown too. Threatened people. Then another. Don't stop. The city needs witnesses. Her hands shook. Fear crept up her spine, not just for herself, but for her neighborhood. Billionaires didn't threaten random women in Crown Heights unless they felt threatened first. That evening, she sat alone in her apartment, lights off, listening to her own breath. She whispered the truth she didn't want to admit. We can't win this alone. The question was, who in New York had the courage to stand between a billionaire and stolen public land? It started with a rumor. Alia's cousin Kareem, a delivery driver who rode through every borough, said he'd overheard something outside a repair shop in Red Hook. I heard some riders talking. He told her over chopped cheese at the bodega. They said a crew in Queens been watching what Crane's doing. They don't like billionaires grabbing public land. Alia raised an eyebrow. What kind of riders? Kareem lowered his voice. The kind that don't scare easy. The kind nobody pushes around. The kind that show up when the city fails. She stared at him, confused. He leaned in. Hellsangels, sis. Real ones, not the movie kind. The community ones. Alia felt her stomach drop. Why would they care about us? Kareem shrugged. Because they hate bullies. And because some of them grew up like us, immigrant families, workers, vets. They don't like rich men stealing what belongs to people. Alia shook her head. I don't even know how to reach them. Kareem smiled. You don't, they reach you. If your story is loud enough. That night, Alia uploaded a second video raw, shaking, tearful, explaining why Brower Park mattered. It hit 200,000 views by morning. And somewhere in Queens. Engines started rumbling. Alia was rinsing dishes when her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Normally, she ignored those too many scam calls, too many spam messages, that something compelled her to answer. A calm man's voice said, Is this Alia Romero? She froze. Who's asking? My name is Mateo Brick Santiago. Queens chapter. I saw your video. She didn't recognize the name instantly, but she recognized the tone, steady, patient, and carrying the weight of someone who had lived through jails, layoffs, and losses, but still chose to fight. We heard what's happening in Crown Heights, he continued. Brower Park is public land, children's land. Nobody gets to steal it. Alia hesitated. I wasn't asking for bikers. We're not here because you asked, Mateo said. We're here because we pay attention when the city doesn't. A moment of silence stretched between them. He added, We're not swooping in. You lead, we support. That's the rule. Alia swallowed. What do you want from me? Meet us tomorrow morning. Cadman Plaza, 10 a.m. Bring anyone who cares about that park. Not a protest. A conversation. She felt her hands shaking again, fear, mixing with something unfamiliar. Hope. The next morning. Crown Heights arrived in wave students with backpacks. Elders with canes. A few nurses still in scrubs. young parents pushing strollers. Aliyah stood among them, scanning the plaza for anything unusual. It was cold, windy, and strangely quiet. Then she heard it, a low hum, a vibration in the concrete, a sound that felt like thunder rolling under the city. 20 motorcycles turned the corner, not loud, not revving, but steady, controlled, serious. The riders parked in a clean line. No chaos, no theatrics. Multiracial, mixed ages, men and women both. Some wore patches, others didn't. Their jackets weren't the Hollywood kind. They looked like mechanics, veterans, teachers, EMTs. Mateo stepped forward, mid-40s. Puerto Rican, calm eyes. Aliyah felt her throat tighten again. He spoke first. "We're here to listen." And so the community spoke. A Jewish teacher described her students' science projects in the park. A Haitian immigrant talked about practicing English on a bench there 20 years ago. A West Indian elder cried openly discussing her husband's ashes scattered under one of the old oaks. The riders didn't interrupt, didn't pose, didn't perform. They listened deeply, respectfully. Painfully. It was the most powerful silence Aliyah had ever heard. When the community finished speaking, Mateo motioned toward two women riders, Priya Patel, a former city budget analyst from Jamaica, Queens, and Jordan Walsh, a 52-year-old white single mother and paralegal from Staten Island. Priya unrolled a laminated map. "Here's what Crane filed," she said. "He's using a loophole in the public-private partnership framework. It's technically legal until someone challenges it." Jordan added, "If we push early, we expose the loophole and stall the permits." Aliyah blinked. "You know the laws?" Mateo nodded. "We're riders, but we're also workers. And workers learn things." A young Dominican teen asked, "So what do we do? Fight them?" Priya shook her head. "No, we build pressure. 3 phases. Visibility, community presence so large. Crane can't control the narrative. Documentation. Every illegal construction. Act filmed from 3 angles. Barrier, not fights. Not fists. Bodies and bikes positioned legally on public ground." Jordan added, "When rich men fear public embarrassment, their lawyers panic." Someone in the crowd chuckled. Aliyah almost smiled. For the first time, it felt like an actual fight, not a losing battle. A structured, strategic, disciplined fight. By the next week, the Billionaire escalated. Crane's team issued a press release accusing outside agitators and motorcycle gangs of intimidating workers. News outlets ate it up. Corporate media repeated phrases like dangerous bikers, lawless intimidation, and threat to development. Aliyah felt sick watching it. It twisted reality so violently she wanted to scream. But Priya sent her a message. This is expected. When billionaires panic, they smear. Stay steady. Still, the escalation didn't stop there. Unmarked security vehicles appeared around Brower Park. Workers fenced half the playground before 7 a.m., despite no city approval. Aliyah filmed it, but a guard approached aggressively. "You need permission to record construction sites." Aliyah held firm. "This is public land." The guard leaned closer. "It won't be for long." Fear surged, but before the guard could say more, 3 motorcycles rolled up slowly, silently. Mateo, Jordan, and Priya dismounted, not one gesture aggressive. Mateo calmly said, "She's exercising her rights." The guard backed off, not because he feared them, but because he feared being recorded harassing a woman surrounded by witnesses. Aliyah exhaled shakly. This was no longer intimidation. This was chess. Word spread through WhatsApp groups, TikTok, local churches, synagogues, and block associations. Every day, more neighbors arrived. And every day, More riders appeared: Harleys, Hondas, Indians, old Yamahas resurrected from basements. Not a mob. Not a gang. A coalition got at sunrise one morning. Aliyah stood in the park and counted 40 bikes. By noon, 60. By evening, 80. Parents brought folding chairs. Teens brought signs. Musicians played steel pan and old-school reggae by the benches. Jewish teens handed out water bottles. A Syrian baker donated trays of manouche. A Haitian drummer played rhythms under the big elm dot. It felt less like a standoff and more like a living argument. This park belongs to the people, and the people showed up. But Crane wasn't done. He hired a PR firm specializing in rapid community displacement campaigns. They released ads portraying the park as unsafe, mismanaged, and underutilized. They showed stock footage of trash and claimed it was Brower Park. Aliyah choked up when she saw it. He's trying to erase us. Mateo placed a hand on her shoulder. He's trying to scare you. But you're not alone. For the first time, she believed him. By now, Aliyah's face was everywhere. TikTok duets, Twitter reposts, WhatsApp threads. Her second video, where her voice cracked describing her mother's picnics, hit nearly 1 million views. With visibility came pressure, and pressure brought fear. She couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw bulldozers rolling over childhood memories. She saw her father's domino table crushed under concrete. She imagined kids staring through metal gates into a park they could no longer enter without scanning passes. She paced her apartment until 3 a.m., heart drumming, mind racing. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jordan. If you can't sleep, don't. We stay awake at night too. That's how you know we're on your side. Another from Priya followed. Your fear means you care. Your care means you'll win. Fear is evidence of responsibility, not weakness. Aliyah sat on her couch, tears rolling silently. She'd never met women who spoke with such certainty, women who didn't see her as a victim, but a leader caught in a storm. She whispered to herself, I didn't ask for this. But then, almost as a correction, but I can do this. Outside, the night was quiet, but the city felt like it was holding its breath. The next morning, Priya arrived with what looked like a miniature war room in her backpack: maps, printed legal filings, copies of FOIL requests, highlighted permit applications. She laid everything out on 2 benches in Brower Park. Aliyah stared. You did all this in 3 days? Priya shrugged. The city buries things in PDFs. Someone has to dig. Jordan pointed at one document. This right here, Crane's company filed temporary safety structure permit. But that's only valid if there's an imminent hazard. Brower Park has no hazard reports on record. Aliyah frowned. So, they lied on paperwork? Not exactly, Jordan replied. They exaggerated something. That's how billionaires dodge accountability. They distort a truth by 2 degrees. Mateo added, if we can prove misrepresentation, we freeze his build for months. Aliyah felt a jolt, not quite joy, but momentum. What do you need from me? Priya smiled. You're the narrator. You're the witness. You're the face. You explain this in human language. We handle the legal translation. Aliyah nodded slowly. She wasn't a lawyer, or a strategist, or a biker, but she knew how to speak from the heart, and she knew the people who would listen. The investigation wasn't glamorous, but it was powerful, and it had begun. 2 days later, they held a community live stream from the park. No fancy equipment, just Aliyah's cracked phone taped to a bike handle. But it worked. Aliyah explained the permit loophole in plain language. He's saying the park is unsafe. He's lying. He wants control, not safety. Then Mateo spoke about public land rights. Priya explained the legal angle. Jordan outlined how private security would inevitably target people of color and teens. The live stream hit 10,000 viewers in an hour. Comments flooded in. I grew up there, how can they take it? This happened in Queens too. Public means public. I'm coming tomorrow. By sunset, news vans lined the street. Reporters walked into the park, expecting chaos, and instead found a peaceful, multicultural, intergenerational crowd cooking food and watching kids play beneath the threatened trees. Alaya held back tears when a reporter asked her, "Why fight so hard?" She answered, voice trembling, "Because my mother held my hand in this park when the world felt scary. Because people without money deserve beauty too. Because Brooklyn shouldn't be carved up by men who only see land as profit." Her voice cracked again. Another cry moment. And unexpectedly, the city leaned closer. A week into the standoff, a city employee from the Department of Parks and Recreation approached Alia discreetly at dawn. She wore a faded green uniform and a tired expression. "You didn't hear this from me," she said softly. "But Crane filed an emergency variance request. If it gets approved, he gets full access. No hearings." Alia's stomach nodded. "When's the vote?" "Tonight," the woman whispered. 9 p.m. closed doors. "Can we stop it?" The city worker glanced at the growing line of bikes along the park entrance. "If the mayor's office feels public pressure, yes. If not, no." Before Alea could respond, the woman added, "Listen, I've worked here 30 years. They've privatized everything: hospitals, shelters, schools. Once a park goes private, it never goes back. You're fighting for more than this block." Then she slipped away. Alaya felt the weight of the borough suddenly pressing on her ribs. The idea of losing the park wasn't just a loss, it was a humiliation. A signal that billionaires could take anything. Anywhere. She immediately called Mateo. "We need people," she said. Mateo replied. "Then we'll give the city something it cannot ignore." By afternoon, the entire borough of Brooklyn moved as if sharing one heartbeat. Alia recorded a final video short, raw, unscripted. "They vote tonight. They want to take the park without asking us. If you ever walked here, picnicked here, played here, healed here, bring your body. Bring your story. Bring your love." At 7 p.m., the people show up. Within minutes, the video spread. By an hour, it was everywhere. Church groups texted each other. Muslim families shared it after Dur prayer. Caribbean aunties copied it into WhatsApp. Teen skate crews reposted. A Chinese bakery on Kingston Avenue hung a screenshot on their door. Even a Hasidic school circulated it among parents. And then came the sound. Engines. Not 20. Not 40. Dozens. Then dozens more. From Queens, Harlem, the Bronx, Staten Island, even parts of Jersey. The rumble was so deep that store windows trembled. Alaya stood in Brower Park, breath caught in her throat, watching headlights pour down the street. Hope didn't just arrive. It roared. By 6:45 p.m., Brower Park transformed into something no billionaire could have imagined. Hundreds of New Yorkers gathered, elders wrapped in coats, teens holding handmade signs, moms pushing strollers, workers still in uniform, clergy standing beside street vendors. Every corner of Crown Heights showed up. And then the bikes came. First a handful, then a wave, then a wall. Motorcycles of every size and sound forming a living perimeter around the park. The riders stood beside their machines like quiet guardians. No intimidation, no aggression, just presence. A message written in steel and stance. Alaya walked through the crowd, overwhelmed. People hugged her, thanked her, handed her water, asked how to help. She wasn't a celebrity. She wasn't a leader by choice. She was just the woman who said the thing everyone felt. As the sun dipped behind the brownstones, a Haitian pastor gathered people in a circle for a brief prayer. A group of Jewish musicians played soft violin near the benches. Teens painted signs on cardboard. Public means public. You can't buy our childhood. Alea stood in the center of all of it, heart pounding. This wasn't a protest. It was a neighborhood defending itself. And tonight, the city would have to listen. Just after 7 p.m., 3 black SUVs rolled up to the park's eastern entrance. No sirens, but enough tinted windows to signal power. Crane stepped out wearing a perfectly tailored coat, surrounded by private security earpieces, tactical boots, blank expressions. He looked at the crowd with mild annoyance, as if the people of Brooklyn were an unexpected scheduling inconvenience. Alea stood at the edge of the gathering, muscles tightening. Crane's expression said everything. This belongs to me. You are obstacles. He walked forward, hands clasped behind his back. This demonstration won't change legal procedure, he said loudly. Your emotions are understandable, but progress requires tough decisions. Anger rose through the crowd. An elder shouted, "Stealing isn't progress." A teenager added, "We live here." You don't. Crane smiled thinly. Public spaces require private management. Democracy is inefficient. That line set the crowd on fire. Before anyone could surge forward, Mateo stepped between Crane and the people, calm, steady, unmoving. Nobody here is threatening you, he said. We're exercising the same rights your lawyers hide behind. Crane's jaw tightened. You think motorcycles intimidate me? Mateo stared back. We're not here to intimidate. We're here so you can't bulldoze a neighborhood while families sleep. It wasn't a threat. It was a boundary, and Crane hated boundaries. Crane motioned to his security team. Clear the entrance. A ripple went through the crowd. The guards advanced, but not aggressively, more like a slow-moving wall. The kind trained to shift bodies without leaving bruises. The kind billionaires hire when they want plausible deniability. Alea's breath hitched. Her voice trembled. Mateo. They're going to push through. But Mateo raised one hand, signaling the riders in a single coordinated movement. 50 bikers stepped forward, forming a legal, peaceful barrier on the public sidewalk, shoulder to shoulder, feet planted, arms relaxed but ready. They didn't touch the guards. They didn't speak. They simply occupied the space Crane needed. The guards hesitated, unsure. This wasn't a brawl. This was strategy. Any shove, any misstep would be caught on hundreds of phones and broadcast in seconds. A city official finally arrived, panting, holding a clipboard. You can't initiate construction tonight, she told Crane urgently. The variance isn't approved yet. Crane snapped. It will be. Alea stepped forward, voice loud enough for cameras. Not if the city sees what you're doing. For the first time, Crane looked rattled. Suspense thickened. Every sound, the sirens in the distance, the hum of traffic, the soft shake of leaves felt amplified. Brooklyn held its breath. At 8 p.m. Something unexpected happened. New Yorkers from other boroughs started arriving, not riders, not locals, just people who heard the call. A Filipino nurse, still wearing her Queen's General badge. A Bronx janitor with his young son on his shoulders. A group of Columbia students carrying signs. A Yemeni deli worker who shut his shop early. A Chinese grandmother who brought sesame, buns for everyone near her. Every arrival shifted the balance. Every face added weight to the moment. Reporters whispered to each other, "This isn't a protest. This is a city." Alea felt tears rising again. She tried to hide them, wiping them with her sleeve, but a Jamaican elder touched her arm gently. Cry if you must, daughter. Crying is strength too. Another cry moment. Then the mayor's liaison finally appeared, not a politician. But a career civil servant who recognized the magnitude of what he was witnessing, he approached Aliyah quietly. "The variance vote was delayed," he said. "Someone from the mayor's office saw your live stream. They're reviewing Crane's filings for irregularities." Aliyah blinked. "Are you saying we stalled him?" The liaison nodded. "Tonight?" "Yes." Mateo exhaled deeply. Priya closed her eyes in relief. Jordan whispered, "One win at a time." For the first time, victory felt possible. But billionaires don't lose gracefully. Crane stepped forward, voice sharp as glass. "This is absurd. You can stall paperwork, but you can't stop development. The park will be mine by the end of the month." Aliyah felt anger surge in her chest. "It's not your park. It's Brooklyn's." Crane scoffed. "Brooklyn is whatever I decide to invest in." The crowd erupted. Shouts, boos, tears, fury. One teen yelled, "You don't own us." Crane turned toward the press. "These are emotional children, manipulated by motorcycle gangs. This is why public spaces must be privately managed." That was it. Jordan stepped forward, voice firm and cutting. "My daughter studies at NYU. Priya here is a former city analyst. Mateo's a veteran. The only child here is the grown man who thinks money replaces community." The crowd roared. Crane turned red. "You're going to regret this." Aliyah felt the anger moment hit her full force. "No," she said. "You are." Crane stormed back to his SUV. His security retreated. The tension broke like a snapped cable. But one truth settled over everyone. Tonight was not the battle. It was the warning shot. The real confrontation was coming. The next morning, Brooklyn spoke with one voice. Local businesses placed handwritten signs in their windows. "Our park, our land. Nitrogen monoxide private takeover. Parks belong to people." Teachers from PS 289 walked kids through the park holding clipboards, documenting trees that would be removed. A group of NYCHA residents from Albany houses arrived with a banner saying, "We keep losing, not this time." Teen influencers filmed TikToks about the billionaire's land grab. Caribbean aunties set up a food table labeled Community Kitchen, free for all. And the riders? They didn't posture. They didn't rev. They stood watch quiet, disciplined, present. If the city was the heart, they were the pulse. Priya ran logistics like a general. Shifts, legal observers, designated recorders, communication lines. Jordan coordinated volunteers, water station, tent setup, translation teams. Mateo walked the perimeter, making sure no one escalated. Aliyah recorded another update, her voice steady. "We are here. We are peaceful. And we are not moving." The video hit 2 million views. Crane's PR firm immediately struck back with a statement calling the demonstration a threat to Brooklyn's future development potential. But public sentiment had shifted. For the first time in Crane's career, the billionaire's narrative was losing control. 3 days into the standoff, Crane filed an emergency injunction, claiming the bikers were obstructing city infrastructure. It was a stretch, but billionaires thrive on legal pressure grounding, opponents in paperwork until they suffocate. Aliyah felt her stomach turn as she read the documents. "He's trying to criminalize us." Jordan scanned them calmly. "He's trying to scare us." "There's a difference." Mateo looked up from his notes. "We don't flinch." But Crane pushed harder. His construction trucks lined up at 5 a.m. massive machines, engines humming, ready to roll the moment approval came. The drivers avoided eye contact, knowing exactly what their assignment meant. When Aliyah saw them, fear surged again. She wrapped her arms around herself, whispering, "This can't be happening." Priya squeezed her shoulder. This is the part where he thinks we'll fold. Aliyah turned to the crowd gathering behind her families. Elders, riders, workers, neighbors who refused to leave. "No," she said, voice trembling but growing. "This is the part where we hold." But Crane wasn't done. He sent private security to document the bikers filming faces, license plates, even children. It was intimidation, disguised as surveillance. The mood shifted. Tension thickened. Brooklyn braced for the next move. At sunrise the next day, Aliyah stood at the park entrance, staring down the line of construction machinery again. She inhaled deeply, trying to calm her shaking hands. Mateo approached quietly. "It's time." One signal, just one lift of his hand, and the riders responded. One by one, motorcycles rolled forward, forming a straight, unified line in front of the park entrance. Engines off, helmets off, eyes forward, men and women, black, white, brown, immigrant riders, union workers, veterans, teachers, mechanics, grandparents. Aliyah watched as Priya marked legal boundaries with chalk. Public sidewalk, public right-of-way, no obstruction of emergency vehicles. They had done their homework. Every step was legal. Children stood behind the riders holding signs. Elders sat in chairs knitting or praying. Teenagers linked arms. It wasn't a blockade. It was a declaration. We exist. We matter. We have the right to stand on our own land. Aliyah whispered, "They can't push through this." Jordan replied softly, "They can, but they won't. Cameras are rolling." Crane's workers stared at the barrier, uncertain, uneasy, unwilling to be the faces of a billionaire's brutality. For the first time, the billionaire's machines hesitated. Just after 10 a.m., Crane's head of security approached the line of riders. He was tall, muscular, and radiated the cold professionalism of a man paid handsomely to intimidate. "You need to disperse," he said. "This area is designated for development equipment." Mateo responded without raising his voice. "This is public sidewalk. We are not obstructing traffic. We are not trespassing." The guard stepped closer. "Move or we'll move you." Phones came out instantly. Over 100 cameras, neighbors, students, even passers-by recorded his every word. The guard realized his mistake. He stepped back, switching tactics. "This will escalate," he warned. Jordan stepped forward, her voice firm. "Only if you escalate it." Another guard attempted to push past a rider. Not violently, just enough to test the line. The rider stepped back, then forward again, reclaiming the exact space legally permitted. Aliyah's heart pounded. Fear tightened her throat. But something happened. People behind the riders stepped closer. Elders, teens, workers, mothers. Without planning, without choreography, the community surged, not aggressively, but with quiet, immense force. A human wall rose behind the steel wall. The guards retreated. Crane watched from his SUV, jaw clenched. For the first time, he understood. This wasn't a crowd. This was a city. By noon, the billionaire made his boldest move. Crane himself marched toward the barrier, flanked by lawyers and PR staff. Microphones followed him. Cameras swarmed. He wanted this moment recorded his way. He pointed at the riders. "These people are not residents. They're extremists. They are obstructing lawful development." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Aliyah stepped forward, trembling but determined. "Every person here lives in this city, and we're defending what belongs to us." Crane ignored her. "The city cannot be governed by emotion." Mateo answered, "Then stop ignoring the people who live in it." Crane raised his voice. "Move your motorcycles immediately. This is your last warning." Silence fell. Aliyah looked at the riders. They didn't flinch. Didn't blink. Didn't budge. Crane snapped at his foreman. Start the machinery. Engines roared. Bulldozers lurched forward. The crowd screamed. Aaliyah felt her knees weaken, tears rushing to her eyes. They're really doing it. They're going to plow through us. Mateo whispered. No, they're not. The bulldozers rolled forward 10 feet, 5 feet, and stopped abruptly. Drivers climbed down, shaking their heads. We're not running over families. One said. Crane exploded in rage, but something had changed. His own workers no longer obeyed him. The bulldozer operators backing out shook. Crane more than any biker could. His entire empire ran on obedience contracts, non-disclosure agreements, high salaries tied to silence. But conscience? Conscience wasn't supposed to be a factor. Crane stormed toward the operators. You're fired. All of you. One operator, a middle-aged Dominican father, stepped forward. My kids play in this park. I'm not destroying it. Another added, we build the city. We don't break it for you. Crane turned red. I'll blacklist you. You'll never work another site in New York. Mateo spoke up before the workers could answer. They won't have to. Unions take care of their own. And the city is watching. The crowd erupted cheers, claps, shouts of gratitude. Even riders tapped their helmets in respect. Aaliyah felt her chest tighten, not from fear this time, but pride. This was what solidarity looked like. People choosing each other over paychecks. Crane pointed at her. This is your doing. Aaliyah stepped forward, pulse pounding. No, this is what happens when New Yorkers remember they have power. Crane glared, lips curled. Enjoy your moment. It won't last. But for the first time, his voice shook. Crane's legal team regrouped near the sidewalk, whispering urgently. They thought they were hidden, but Jordan could read lips like a court stenographer. She pulled Aaliyah aside, her voice low. They're panicking. They didn't expect workers to defy orders. Their entire legal argument depends on community disorder, but everything we've done is peaceful and documented. Priya added, we have evidence of fraudulent filings, manipulated permit language, and now attempted coercion of construction staff. This could trigger a state investigation. Aaliyah blinked. Is that real? Really real? Priya nodded. If we package the footage, witness statements, and contradictory filings, we could file with the Attorney General today. Aaliyah felt her breath catch. The possibility was overwhelming, but then Jordan placed a hand on her shoulder. Listen, this is bigger than one billionaire. This is precedent. If we win here, every neighborhood in New York gets stronger. Aaliyah swallowed hard. What do we do now? Mateo answered simply. We hold the line until sunset. By then, the city will have to make a statement. It was both comforting and terrifying, because Crane wasn't going to accept defeat quietly. By 3 p.m. The park entrance looked like the front line of a peaceful revolution. Hundreds of eyes watched. Hundreds of phones recorded. The line of riders stood like statues, breathing, sweating, but unmoving. Crane paced like a caged animal. His security circled. His foreman stalled. His lawyers hovered. Aaliyah felt the suspense like a weight on her spine. One mistake, one shove, one angry outburst could tilt everything. A teenager shouted, "Leave our park alone." Crane snapped back instantly. "Go home, child." Mateo raised his hand. No shouting back, he warned gently, and the crowd listened. This wasn't chaos. This was discipline. The tension was unbearable. Every minute stretched into 5. Every engine rumble felt like a threat. The air smelled like sweat, asphalt, and summer heat radiating from the concrete. Then something small happened, but it shifted everything. A little girl, no older than 7, squeezed through the crowd and tugged on Aliya's coat. "Miss," she whispered, "my mommy says you're the reason the park is still here." Aliyah felt her throat close. "No, sweetheart," she said, voice breaking. "The reason is all of us." The girl hugged her. Cameras caught it, and the world watching online felt the truth. This wasn't a protest. It was a promise. Humiliated, desperate, and cornered, Crane did what powerful men do when they lose control. He tried to break someone personally. He stepped toward Aliyah, face twisted. "You think you're a hero? You're a nobody. A woman with a phone. You're ruining a multi-million-dollar project." Aliyah trembled, but she didn't step back. "You're ruining a neighborhood." Crane leaned in closer. "I could bury you in lawsuits. Your job, your finances, your reputation gone." Before Mateo could intervene, Crane spoke louder, intentionally for cameras. "This is why the city shouldn't leave decisions to emotional, uneducated civilians." Gasps, outrage. Someone shouted, "You don't talk to our people like that." Another yelled, "You're the outsider here." Crane raised a hand dismissively. "You people don't understand development. You don't understand value." Aliyah felt fire rise in her chest. Tears stung, but she refused to break. "We understand value," she said, voice shaking but strong. "It's life. It's community. It's history. It's kids who deserve space to breathe." Crane laughed cruelly. "Nostalgia isn't law." Mateo stepped forward, face calm but deadly serious. "But humanity is. And you're losing yours." For the first time, cameras captured the billionaire as he truly was: small, petty, brittle dock, and New York noticed. Something shifted in that moment, something deep. Like the ground itself took a breath. Aliyah didn't plan to speak. She didn't rehearse. She simply stepped forward because someone had to. She faced the crowd, hundreds in the park, thousands watching online, and said loudly, "Every time they take a hospital, a school, a shelter, we say nothing because we're tired. Every time they raise rent, we swallow it because we have no choice. Every time they call us uneducated, emotional, replaceable, we believe them. Not today." The crowd leaned in. "This park is not just land. It's our childhoods, our culture, our peace, our history. And today, we say nitrogen monoxide." A woman near the front whispered, "Keep going." Aliyah continued, voice building. "Brower Park was here before Lionel Crane. It'll be here after him. Because he builds towers, we build community." Cheers erupted loud, long, raw. The billionaire turned away, furious. Mateo whispered to her, "Get ready." "For what?" she asked. "For the moment where New York chooses the side of the people." By late afternoon, the heat, tension, and noise blended into a single electric pressure. Hanging over Brower Park, reporters whispered that the mayor's office was monitoring the situation closely. Cranes. Lawyers kept refreshing their phones, waiting for a green light that wasn't coming. His security team stood stiff, rattled by the sheer size of the crowd. But the community? They only grew louder, braver, more rooted. A group of Brooklyn College students arrived with signs reading, "Public land is a right." A team of volunteer medics set up a small tent. A group of elders from the Caribbean Senior Center marched in, chanting in Creole, "New Papi, this land is ours." Aliyah watched, overwhelmed. Pride fought against fear in her chest. Then a disturbance rippled through the crowd, a scuffle at the far edge. Crane's private security had attempted to push into the perimeter again, citing illegal assembly. This time, they were more aggressive, hoping to spark chaos that could justify police intervention. But before anything could escalate, 15 riders moved in sync, stepping between the guards and the families. No pushing. No yelling. Just a living shield. One guard muttered, "This is going to get ugly." Mateo, standing inches from him, said quietly, "Only if you make it ugly." The guard backed off. The breaking point was building. Everyone could feel it. By 5 p.m., the live stream hit 2.7 million viewers. Not 1,000, million. People from Harlem, Flushing, Red Hook, Bushwick, and the Bronx posted messages. "We're coming. Hold the line. Don't let him take what's ours." Traffic around Crown Heights clogged with residents heading toward the park. The city couldn't ignore it anymore. News anchors stood at the entrance, broadcasting live. This is becoming one of the largest spontaneous community assemblies New York has seen in years. Alaya trembled as she watched more people arrive, delivery drivers still in uniform, city bus operators on break, sanitation workers, teachers holding clipboards, construction workers still wearing harnesses. New York was showing up for New York. Priya rushed over with her tablet. The mayor's office just announced they're pushing the variance review until further notice. Aliya's eyes filled instantly. "Does that mean we won?" "Not yet," Priya said. "It means they're afraid. And that's the first step toward justice." Across the street, Crane's face stiffened as a reporter asked him, "Sir, how do you respond to the city postponing your approval?" He snapped, "Temporary setbacks don't concern me." But they did. Everyone saw his hands shaking. Desperation is loud. And Crane's next move proved it. He held an impromptu press conference at the park's edge, cameras swarming him. His PR strategist whispered frantically, but Crane pushed her hand away and stepped up to the microphones. "These people," he said, sweeping a hand toward the crowd, "are pawns in a political agenda. They are manipulated by extremist groups using emotional rhetoric to block progress." Boos exploded from the crowd. Aliyah felt heat rush through her cheeks. Crane continued, louder, "They don't represent the real New Yorkers who want safer, cleaner, better managed parks." A man shouted, "We are real New Yorkers." A woman added, "You've never even been here." Crane raised his voice, "Public spaces fail because the public fails them." That line hit like a slap. Before reporters could react, a Hasidic father stepped forward holding his son's hand. "You don't know this park," he said, "but my boy learned to walk here. And no billionaire deserves the right to put a price on that." A Caribbean grandmother joined him. "This park saved my sanity during COVID. You cannot buy the breath of this community." Crane opened his mouth, but no words came. The story was slipping out of his hands, and the city knew it. As the sun began to set, Crane tried one final tactic. He ordered his foreman to resume work. The foreman hesitated, then signaled the machinery. Engines rumbled. Metal groaned. The bulldozers rolled forward again. The entire crowd stiffened. Aliyah's hands shook so badly she dropped her phone. "They're going to try again. They're really going to try." Mateo gave the signal. The riders stepped forward. The community stepped behind them. The line thickened. People linked arms. Teens stood beside elders. Parents lifted children onto their shoulders so they could see. It wasn't a mob. It wasn't a riot. It was a wall made of humanity. The bulldozers came within 20 feet. 10 feet. 8. Drivers slowed. Slowed more. Stopped. The engines kept running, growling like beasts waiting to be unleashed. But the machines did not move. A hush spread across the park. Aliyah whispered shakily, "Why did they stop?" One operator leaned out of the window and shouted, "We're not running over kids, elders, or our neighbors. Not tonight. Not ever." The crowd exploded in cheers. Crane exploded in rage. But something irreversible had happened. The line held. And the Billionaire broke. Night settled over Crown Heights like a velvet curtain. The streetlights flickered on, casting golden halos over the crowd. Aliyah stood at the center, surrounded by Mateo, Priya, Jordan, and hundreds of neighbors who had refused to go home. Crane stood at a distance, breathing heavily, sweating under his designer coat. His lawyers argued. His PR staff panicked. His security team looked defeated. But the people? They looked ready. The mayor's liaison arrived again, stepping carefully through the crowd. "A statement is coming," he whispered to Aliyah. "But before that, the city wants to know what the community says. They want to hear from you." Aliyah's mouth went dry. "From me?" Priya nodded. "You're the voice. You've been the voice." Jordan added softly, "This is your moment. Speak for the park. Speak for the city." Aliyah's heartbeat pounded so loudly she could barely hear the crowd chanting behind her. "The park! The people! The park! The people!" She stepped onto a small stone platform by the entrance. Phones lifted. Lights pointed. Silence fell. Mateo whispered in her ear, "Say what your heart has carried for 20 years. New York is listening." Aliyah inhaled, exhaled, then began to speak. Her 200-word speech would decide everything. Aliyah stepped onto the stone ledge, the crowd falling into a breathless silence. The streetlights flickered across hundreds of faces that had fought, cried, hoped, and held the line together. She steadied herself, voice trembling at first, then rising with the weight of generations behind it. "Brooklyn," she began, "we've lost so much. They took our clinics and told us it was efficiency. They took our schools and called it innovation. They raised our rents and said it was progress. And every time, we swallowed the pain because we were tired, because we were working 2 jobs, because we didn't think anyone would stand with us." She looked out at the riders, the elders, the children on shoulders. But today, something changed. Today, every person here remembered that public does not mean disposable. Public means shared. Public means cared for. Public means ours. Her voice grew stronger. This park is not just grass and benches. It is memory. It is healing. It is the right of a child to run, the right of an elder to rest, the right of a family to breathe. And no billionaire can buy that. She raised her hand toward the crowd. "We are the city. And tonight, the city stands together." The crowd erupted. Moments after Aliyah's speech shook the park, the mayor's liaison returned, weaving through the crowd with urgency. Reporters swarmed him. Cameras zoomed. Everyone held their breath. He stepped onto the same stone ledge where Aliyah had stood. "On behalf of the mayor's office and the Department of Parks," he announced, "we are issuing the following statement. All construction activity at Brower Park is hereby suspended pending a full review of the variance, permit filings, and compliance record of Crane Development Group." Gasps, cheers, tears. Aliyah felt her knees weaken as Priya grabbed her hand tightly. The liaison continued, voice steady. "Additionally, the city will launch an investigation into alleged misrepresentation on permit documents, intimidation of community members, and coercion of contracted workers." Crane's face drained of color. The crowd erupted, chanting, "The park! The people!" As riders tapped their helmets and parents lifted their children high so they would remember this moment, Aliyah exhaled a trembling breath. It wasn't final victory, not yet, but it was the city's first acknowledgement that the community was right, that they mattered, that public spaces weren't bargaining chips. Brooklyn felt a shift that night, quiet, powerful, irreversible. Crane's lawyers pulled him aside, but the cameras captured everything: his clenched jaw, his shaking hands, the cracks forming in his carefully crafted empire. Losing control in public was his worst nightmare. Losing to regular people was unforgivable. A reporter approached him. "Mr. Crane, you have a response?" He forced a smile that looked painful. "This isn't over." But the workers who had refused to operate machinery stepped into frame. One said firmly, "No, sir. It is over. We're not destroying a community's heart." Another added, "New York stands with them, not you." Crane turned away, but there was nowhere to hide. His SUVs rolled forward, but the riders and community parted calmly, not out of fear, but victory. He drove off without waving, without speaking, without even meeting the eyes of the people he'd tried to erase. As he disappeared down Eastern Parkway, a Caribbean elder whispered, "Let him run. He doesn't belong here." Aliyah felt a long, heavy breath leave her body. Not relief, something else. Something like justice beginning to take shape. Priya walked up beside her. "He'll fight in court," she said. Aliyah nodded. "So will we." And for the first time, she believed they could win. The next morning, Brower Park felt different, as if the earth itself remembered what happened. Birds sounded louder. Kids ran faster. Elders sat on benches with renewed pride. The chalk lines Priya drew were still faintly visible, like scars of a battle fought with dignity. The riders were still there, but relaxed, now sharing coffee, laughing quietly, checking in on neighbors. No formation, no tension, just presence. Aliyah walked the grounds with Matteo. "Do you think he'll try again?" she asked. Matteo nodded. Men like Crane don't accept defeat easily. But now he knows this isn't just land. It's a community ready to fight. Jordan joined them, holding a folder. "We filed everything with the Attorney General. This morning permit inconsistencies. Intimidation footage, worker testimony. The city can't brush it away now." Aliyah ran her fingers over the bark of a tree she'd played under as a child. "I never thought I'd be someone who fights like this." Priya smiled. "You didn't become someone new. You remembered who you already were." Parents passed by and thanked Aliyah. Teens took photos with her. An elder kissed her forehead softly. For the first time, she allowed herself to feel the victory, not the yell, not the chant, but the quiet relief of knowing her community had protected its own. A week later, Aliyah returned to Brower Park at sunrise. The sky glowed soft orange over Crown Heights. Dew clung to the grass. The air smelled of soil and early light. She sat on the bench where her mother once told her stories about growing up in the islands. The bench where families gathered during blackouts. Where she held her son after his first scraped knee. Where she had once felt powerless. Not anymore. Kids arrived first, backpacks bouncing. Elders followed, greeting each other with nods. A jogger paused to stretch. A father pushed a stroller. Life continued the way a city's life should, freely, without gates, without fees. Matteo approached quietly. "Aj acknowledged receipt of our filings," he said. "They'll investigate." Aliyah nodded. "Whatever happens next, this park is still here." He looked out at the trees. "And it's here because people remembered the oldest lesson in New York. When we stand together, power breaks." Aliyah breathed in deeply, letting the moment settle. "What we did. It wasn't just about land, was it?" Matteo shook his head. "It was about dignity, about saying the city belongs to its people." Aliyah smiled, eyes misting. "Then let's make sure they never forget." And as the sun rose over Brower Park, it felt like the beginning, not the end of something bigger. Brower Park stood untouched, but the victory ran deeper than trees and soil. It lived in the knowledge that ordinary people, workers, elders, riders, families, could hold back the machinery of wealth with nothing but unity and courage. The billionaire left with bruised pride. The community stayed with renewed power. And across New York, neighborhoods whispered the same truth. If they come for one of us, we all stand.